Hello, this is Radical Honesty, episode 2, and we're going to cover the Ninja Turtles movie today, the 2014 version, and it's going to be largely negative, as we did not enjoy this movie. We didn't despise it with all of our soul, but at the end of the day, it could have been so much better. And we're going to get to it. Each point we had, each specific complaint we had in its own time. But we're going to start off with what we think is the focus of the movie, is the Turtles. As a child, we were a huge fan of the Ninja Turtles. As far as we're concerned, we had pretty much everything related to them. We had the home video cassettes, we had the toys, fucking everything. And as far as we're concerned, they were fantastic. And then, of course, that first movie came out and we were in awe. We thought it was one of the best things we'd ever seen in our life. And it's still today not a bad movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's fun. It gets you laughing. There's some pretty cool martial arts sequences in it, especially for guys in these big fucking rubber suits. They must be as hard as hell to move in those. But no, they pull it off and do some pretty good fighting. Lots of good martial arts and the kicks and the flips and all that. Really impressive. And then, the second one was alright. But Vanilla Ice? Really? Ugh. But then the third one was a piece of shit. The third one was a piece of shit. You know it. We know it. Everybody knows it. Time travel. If you're going to put time travel in a movie, have a TARDIS or a fucking DeLorean. As far as we're concerned, do something like that. Or have a time traveling friggin' metal robot who has human skin over it. That works. That's proven. Terminator, the original and the second one. Good movies. The Doctor Who series. Of the past and the present. A lot of people don't like the new one, but it's true, we've kind of lost interest in it for the most part, but on occasion we'll still watch it. And then you've got the Back to the Future movies. I think it was one of the first movies to really do time travel with a bit of style. Making it into a car. We were going to say sports car, but we don't know if a DeLorean is a sports car. We never had them in this country, so it's up to any people over the pond to decide whether it's a sports car or not. It looked kind of sporty, or sleek. Especially with all the shit that he piled onto it, Doc Brown, and he piled on all the flux capacitors and all that bullshit. Yes, and we know the flux capacitor is just that thing on the inside, but we're just talking about all the crap on the rear. Anyway, TMNT 3. Piece of shit. Time travel. Don't do it. Especially when a movie doesn't need it. Yeah, the Shredder coming back would have been a bit of a problem because he'd already returned once before. And the Shredder's back. Oh, again. It must be Thursday, Did get a bit pissed off with it after a while. But this new one, we understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to update it for the times. But computer-generated imagery doesn't always mean that you're going to be successful. Yeah, it looked more modern, but there are so many issues we had with this. It defies reason what they were thinking about when they made this. Well, let's start off with the Turtles. Like we said, they were good in the old days. Yeah, they were rubber suits, but they were practical effects. They were there. They were physical. The other actors who weren't turtles could see them and interact with them on a meaningful level, and they'd have someone to bounce their lines off. Now, in the new movie, Megan Fox, as much as we dislike her for her lack of acting ability, it can only have made her worse, not having anyone across from her to act with. Because those Ninja Turtles, they're not there. They're completely computer generated. No doubt they probably had some dickhead wandering around with an L or something on his shirt saying, "That's Leonardo. That one's, blah, blah, blah. Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael." They probably had different coloured letters on their shirts to signify who they were, so the actor could at least look in the direction that they were supposed to look at when they were speaking to the specific turtle. But as far as we're concerned, practical effects will always be better than CG. Yeah, you can do some great things with CG. Don't think we're knocking CG. The original Jurassic Park was groundbreaking. Phenomenal. Couldn't believe our eyes when we first saw that shit. Fucking brilliant. And it still holds up now. You don't get many movies that have that kind of realism in them now, even though technology's advanced a lot since then. But these things, ugly. We want to say they were what we're trying to say is that they were kind of like mutated mutants. If that makes any sense whatsoever. It's okay if it doesn't, but from what they were, these ones were like hideous, malformed versions of what they used to be. Pretty much the only thing they got right with the turtles were each one of them has the correct weapon, and each one of them has roughly the right personality. Leonardo's a serious leader, Donatello's the techie and the genius, Michelangelo's the goof-off moron who doesn't take anything seriously, and Raphael's the brooding, angry one, who always wants to fight. And that's okay. Those were the personalities we'd always heard of, and that we'd already seen, and that was good. They got those right. And the people doing the voice acting, they were okay. Accurate enough to portray the turtles. However, now that we've said how much we dislike the CGI turtles in favour of the new, the old versions, with the rubber suits, the practical effects, we have to move on to some of the other characters in the movie. Specifically the rat. Splinter was not well done. He seemed more like an abusive father than anything else. He was abusing the turtles in one scene. It was almost like physical torture. If they hadn't been able to do that stuff, it would have been considered cruel and unusual punishment in our opinion. Whipping people with his tail. What is he? Fucking Indiana rat? We don't know. Whipping people with his tail. Stupid thing to do. And his CG was pretty poor. Not just that, but they changed the origin as well. He was no longer... in the original show, he was a man who had spent time with rats, and as a result of the special fluid, ooze thingy, he turned into a rat. Now in the movie, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, he was a rat who'd spent so much time with a human learning ninja from the kids. That was pretty fucking stupid. But at the end of the day, it was, as the rat, it was observing a ninja master, and when it became fully humanoid, it passed those skills along to the turtles when they became fully humanoid and able to obey it. But in this one, it was just a rat, always. And it never learned from Ninja Master. You know how they learned ninjutsu? From a fucking book. Have you ever tried to learn a martial art from a book? We haven't, but we can't imagine it's very easy compared to a real place, a real dojo or other training centre. We would have a teacher show you what to do. You can only look at pictures and infer so much. You know, you can only get so much from a series of drawings or illustrations or photographs in a book. You know, so it's a wonder they're as good in the movie at martial arts as they are. Anyway, after Splinter, we need to move on to the Foot Clan. We really shouldn't call them the Foot Clan. We want to call them the Foot Army, because that's basically what they were. Trigger-happy morons with assault rifles. Why change them from ninjas? Was that wrong? Were people not... They've always been ninjas, the Foot Clan. They've always been ninjas. So why change them from something that was working? Something that wasn't broke? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Is that not like the phrase we use? Because we think we remember it is. Instead, they turn them into mercenaries. Or morons of some sort with itchy trigger fingers who just want to kill all the time. Wiring up subway platforms with bloody C4? You know, it makes no logical sense. If we'd have been in charge, we'd have kept them as ninjas, but we wouldn't have been so stupid as to have a bunch of kids running around stealing videos and tellies for them, like in the original movie. That was one problem in that movie that really needed to be addressed. The Foot Clan's leader, Shredder, wants you to go out and steal tellies and microwaves and fucking mobile phones. Well, they didn't have mobile phones back then, but he wants you to run out and steal random bits of technology. What do you get for a second-hand VCR back then? Because that was in the day of VCRs, wasn't it? There was no DVDs then. We never understood what you would get from that. What would be the big payoff? But if we'd have been in charge in this incarnation, we don't want to have the whole story straight, but we would have kept them as ninjas, but made them do something a bit more interesting, like a bit more in keeping with their abilities and what their master might want. If you're going to steal something valuable. So we would have had them as ninjas, stealing high-end art, paintings, jewels from museums and things like that, using all their ninja skills to cat burglar their way inside a museum and steal the booty. And we don't know, we're not an expert on what would work, but we would have been satisfied with that. You know, Turtles get involved somehow. Like we said, we don't have the full story straight, but that's what collaboration's for. Other people to bounce ideas off, and then you can come up with a cohesive whole, hopefully. And it would have been good. We hope. You know, if they'd have done that, we would have been satisfied with it if they'd done that. It would have kept them as ninjas and made them useful in a way that they could use their abilities to get things for themselves, like money, valuable antiquities that they can sell on the black market for millions. You know, the Shredder and everything. He wants money, doesn't he? Or at least that's what he must have wanted in the original movie. And we think that would have worked up to a point. And now you've got guys with guns blowing shit up. We went through this with the fucking Superman movie, Man of Steel. Why so much bullshit? Why so much testosterone fueled crap? It doesn't make the movie any more watchable. We personally love Superman. We think Superman is great. One of our favourite comic book characters of all time. But we did not like Man of Steel. Because of the disaster porn it was. It devolved into disaster porn. And we didn't like this movie for the same reason, really. Because this movie kind of took the Foot Clan, who should be low profile, should be ninjas, should be thieves, should be stealth, and turned them into a bunch of gun-wielding psychopaths, basically. They don't care who they kill, as long as they get to blow up, 7 square blocks up every day. As long as they meet their killing quota every day, they're happy. And now we move on to probably our most hated moment in that movie. The reveal of the Shredder in all of his glory. And you know what we mean if you've seen it. And just looking at that thing, you know Michael Bay directed this, don't you? You fucking know he had something to do with this. He might not have directed it, he might have produced it or whatever, but you know he had a hand in this. Because what the fuck does that thing look like? We keep expecting it to turn into a fucking car or something. He's already ruined the Transformers franchise. Stop trying to remake it. You're never going to do it correctly, Michael. You fucked it up. It's done. Give it a rest. Go on to something new. That would be our advice to him. Because that thing, it was wrong. So wrong. It did not belong in that movie. The Shredder's outfit. The suit. The original trailer showed William Finkner with his hands on a mask, and we thought, not bad. Not bad at all. After all, we weren't really crazy with the whole frickin', when they made the Fantastic Four movie. It was okay, that movie. For what it was a superhero movie. It was a bit of light-hearted action, but when we first saw it, we were, that's Doctor 2. It's a bit, where's his cape? You're not supposed to wear a dressing gown, you're supposed to wear a cape. But it worked eventually. Doctor Doom looked pretty badass, and but this is kind of the same thing, but taken to the next level. They didn't just change what the Shredder looked like; they made him ridiculous. They made him a laughingstock in the movie that he's supposed to be the major villain in. We were like, "What the fuck? I don't want to see that. You know what that looks like." And it's pretty much all we've got to say on the characters. Megan Fox. We already said our 2 cents on that. That's basically all we've got for you. Megan Fox sucks. Something like that anyway. She's crap. But we're kind of running out of things to say now, as you can probably imagine. We're stalling. You see, we don't script any of this. It's all right now, right here, Done. From fresh watching a movie to you. We're recording this right now after watching it. That movie was trying too hard to sucker people in, to bring back fans of the old, and to grab a whole bunch of new people, new kids, like for the next one, the sequel. It'll probably get a sequel, considering. But all we can ask is take Michael Bay off the project. He's not going to do it any favours. Now, this, in our opinion, can be saved. You've seen the Turtles now, you know they're CG. You might not like the look of them, but at the end of the day, that's what they are. You're used to it now. You've seen it, you're like, yep, that's what they're going to look like from now on. And eventually you'll accept it. You still might not like it, but you'll accept it. We know we probably will. Because we'll see the sequel if it comes out. We're not going to hate on an entire franchise just because Michael Bay fucked up one of the movies. We hate on the Transformers franchise because Michael Bay fucked up all of the movies so far. He's fucked them all up. But in closing, we have to say it wasn't the worst piece of horrible bullshit we've ever seen, but they did not get very many things right in that. The general personalities of the Turtles and their weapons were alright. You know, the voice acting of the Turtles was okay. It was fine. But everything else was kind of a piss take. And we saw a video of somebody, I think it was Jeremy Johns, and he said, you take a look at the last, 20 minutes? And it's basically The Amazing Spider-Man. And he ain't wrong. It's almost exactly the same. Just change out the principal characters. And that's not right. That's not alright. You can't just take from another movie and just shove your climax and make it exactly the same. You know. It doesn't work like that. You're not allowed. It's a good job they weren't using any kind of freaking mutational substance or anything. Or else then you really would have been freaking, stepping beyond the realms of acceptability. Okay. That's all we've got to say on the Ninja Turtles movie. We know these musings that we have, they're not exactly professional. Like we said, we're an amateur. We don't have a film school degree or whatever they have there. We can only give you our honest opinion. And we'll try and clean these videos up, the sound and such. But at the end of the day, we have to give this movie 3 out of 10. It wasn't the worst piece of shit, but it was painfully below average. And from a fan of the original cartoon show and the original movie, and even the second one to a certain extent, we were hoping for so much more. As soon as we found out the Turtles were going to be CG, we weren't thrilled. But we dealt with it. We accepted it. They're not going to have guys in suits. What are you going to do? Accept it. And we did give this movie a chance. But it fucked the dog in the worst possible way. By altering completely some of its key characters and making them look like a joke. Specifically Splinter, the Foot, the Shredder, and the Turtles to some extent. You know, people were saying, "Oh, what's all this crap on the back of Donatello's thing? What is he trying to? What's with the goggles? Is he trying to be fucking Ray from the Ghostbusters or some shit?" You know. And that's about it. So thank you for watching, and we'll have another video for you as soon as we find something else to talk about. TTFN.